Chapter 1. Ashes Beneath the Stars, the Planet. Eryndor was once the crown jewel of the Vela System, a world where technology and nature intertwined in perfect harmony. Its skies, swirled with galaxies like silver brushstrokes, shimmered through a crystalline atmosphere, creating a spectacle that halted even the most seasoned interstellar travelers. Floating cities, constructed from shimmering alloys and plasma energy, drifted among iridescent clouds, connected by bridges of radiant light. On the surface, bioluminescent forests stretched endlessly, their canopies emitting a soft emerald glow, as if the planet itself were breathing. Eryndor was not merely a planet. It was a symbol of humanity's prosperity within the galactic concord, a testament to their conquest of the cosmos. But now, Eryndor was a graveyard. The once vibrant skies were shrouded in a gray veil of ash, so dense that starlight could no longer pierce through. The floating cities had crumbled, their metallic fragments hovering in the air before being dragged by gravity into deep chasms. The glowing forests had turned to charcoal, their broken trunks devoid of light, like candles snuffed out. The air was thick, heavy with the stench of scorched metal and death, as if the planet were groaning in agony. Kael Voryn stood on a charred hill, his combat boots sinking into the brittle soil, now a mix of dust and debris. His eyes, shielded by radiation-resistant goggles, scanned the desolate landscape. In the distance, a massive transport ship lay tilted, its nose buried in the earth like a rusted dagger. Its engines emitted faint hisses, the last breaths of a dying beast. Black smoke rose from the ruins, merging with the ashen clouds, forming a curtain that obscured the horizon. He clenched his fists, feeling the cold metal of his combat gauntlets against his skin. In his chest, his heart pounded, not from fear, but from a rage that had seeped into his very bones. 10 years ago, he had witnessed the Oblivion Ray for the first time on his homeworld, Calypsa. A blinding white light, silent and unheralded, swept across everything, reducing millions to nothingness. His parents, his sister, all vanished, leaving no trace. Since then, Kael had become a bounty hunter, roaming the galaxy, chasing any clue about the force that had taken everything from him. And now, standing amid Eryndor's ruins, he knew it had returned. Kael knelt, picking up a piece of metal from the ground, a fragment of the ship that had been his home during his wandering. Years. It was still warm, as if it held memories of the fire that consumed it. He turned it over, noticing the markings etched on its surface. They were not human, nor did they belong to any species in the Galactic Concord's records. The sharp, swirling patterns seemed carved by an intelligence far beyond his understanding. They were identical to the symbols he had seen on Calypsa, in ancient ruins he explored before that world was erased. Eryndor was not just a technological hub for humanity. It was an archaeological treasure trove. Deep beneath its surface, in caverns formed billions of years ago, scientists had uncovered remnants of an ancient civilization, predating any known records of the conquered. These structures, built from an unidentifiable material, were dubbed the Nameless Relics. They were inverted pyramids, suspended in subterranean hollows, their walls inscribed with glowing symbols. At the core of each was an energy source emitting strange oscillations that modern devices could not decipher. Many believed these were the remnants of a civilization extinguished long before humanity ventured into the stars. Kael had heard tales of the Nameless Relics as a child on Calypsa. Locals called them the Curse of the Stars, claiming that those who disturbed them would awaken a destructive force. Back then, he dismissed them as myths. But after witnessing the Oblivion Ray, he began to wonder. On Calypsa, scientists had uncovered a similar structure just before the catastrophe. And now, on Eryndor, these symbols reappeared, a warning from the past. He entered a ruined research center nearby, once the heart of a clandestine Concord project, to study the Nameless Relics. The metal walls were scorched, but some screens still flickered weakly. Kael activated a control panel, and a holographic log appeared, showing a scientist with a panicked expression. Day 472, Project Lyrian. The trembling voice said, "We activated the L core in Relic Alpha 12. The energy output exceeded all predictions, but something's wrong. The symbols on the walls began to glow, and we received a signal from deep space. It's not a language. It's like a warning. If anyone finds this log, don't..." The log cut off with a piercing screech, and the screen went dark. Kael stood still, a chill running down his spine. He had heard similar words on Calypsa, from scientists who tried to warn before the Oblivion Ray struck. Were the nameless relics the source of it? Or were they merely markers, reminders of a power no one was meant to touch? Suddenly, a signal blinked on the comm device on his wrist, snapping him from his thoughts. A voice crackled through, distorted by spatial interference. "Kael Voryn, if you're hearing this, get to Nebula 7 station. We found something. It might be related to it." Kael frowned, his finger hovering over the device. The caller was Zyra Thalor, a Zynari scientist he'd met during a bounty mission. He didn't trust her, but her voice trembled with excitement, not fear. "What is it?" he asked coldly, activating signal encryption. "A relic," Zyra replied, her voice quickening. "An ancient structure, deep beneath the surface of Vela 9. It doesn't match any civilization in conquered records. And Kael, it bears traces of the Oblivion Ray." Kael's blood surged. The symbols on the metal fragment, the log in the research center, and now Zyra's words, they all pointed to the same truth. He turned, striding toward his bounty ship, Void Blade. The angular black alloy vessel gleamed like a dagger slicing through the cosmos. Built from stolen pirate tech, Void, Blade was not only fast but armed to take on a small fleet. To Kael, it was more than a ship. It was the only home he had left. He climbed into the cockpit, where control screens lit up like a miniature starfield. The engines roared as he powered up, shattering the silence of the dead planet. Kael entered Nebula 7's coordinates, located at the edge of the Vela System, a treacherous region rife with radiation storms and pirate bands. The journey would be perilous, but Kael was no stranger to danger. He pressed the hyperdrive activation, and Void Blade shuddered as it tore through space, plunging into a swirling tunnel of light. The journey through hyperspace was always disorienting, as if time and space were warped into a chaotic stream. Inside the cockpit, Kael sat silently, his eyes fixed on the screens displaying the ship's diagnostics. Outside, stars stretched into white streaks, forming an endless tunnel. But even in hyperspace, he couldn't escape memories of Calypsa. The image of his sister, Lila, smiling under the glow of their homeworld's bioluminescent forests, haunted him. She was only 10 when the Oblivion Ray took her. Kael gripped the controls, trying to banish the memory, but it clung like a curse. Warning blared on the console, jolting him back. An anomalous energy field appeared ahead, disrupting the hyperspace route. Kael switched to manual control, his fingers dancing over the touchpads. The screens showed a swirling plasma cloud emitting radiation strong enough to fry navigation systems. This was no natural phenomenon. It was a space trap, often set by pirates to ambush stray ships. "Scum," Kael muttered, activating the weapon systems. The plasma cannons on Void Blade glowed, ready to fire. From the plasma cloud, 3 small ships emerged, bearing the insignia of the Vulture Syndicate, pirates who preyed on lone vessels at the galaxy's edge. They moved swiftly, encircling Void Blade like vultures. "Surrender your cargo or die," a guttural voice barked over the comms. Kael didn't respond. He banked the ship, dodging a barrage of plasma bolts. Void Blade spun, its engines roaring as he accelerated, luring one enemy ship into his crosshairs. A precise plasma shot hit its engine, and it exploded in a brilliant fireball. The remaining 2 ships didn't relent. They fired an energy net, attempting to trap Void Blade in a containment field. Kael triggered the countermeasures, releasing an electromagnetic pulse that disrupted the net. He piloted the ship into the plasma cloud, using the radiation to mask his signal. The enemy ships lost track, and Kael seized the moment to strike. 2 consecutive shots crippled their engines, leaving them drifting helplessly. Kael exhaled, checking the systems. Void Blade had sustained minor damage, but he knew he was lucky. The Vela System was a dangerous place, and the closer he got to Nebula 7, the worse it would become. He recalibrated the coordinates, and the ship resumed its journey, slicing through the perilous void. Meanwhile, on Nebula 7 station, Zyra Thalor stood before a massive holographic display, its pale blue light illuminating her face. Rykk'thar fell silent, his claws scraping the metal floor. He didn't trust Zyra, but he knew Klythari Prime was in danger. If the Oblivion Ray was tied to these ancient relics, he had no choice but to cooperate. The past of Kael Voryn. Voryn wasn't always a wanderer with a heart full of rage and hands stained with blood. 10 years ago, he was someone else, a young man on Calypsa, a lush green world at the edge of the Andros system, where bioluminescent forests glowed like miniature galaxies under the night sky. Calypsa wasn't a hub of the galactic conquered, nor was it a planet of wealth or power. But to Kael, it was the universe. The shimmering grasslands, the rivers reflecting the light of 3 moons, and the villages built from glowing stone, all formed a peaceful world where life moved slowly, untouched by interstellar conflicts. Kael grew up in a modest family. His father, Toryn, was an engineer who repaired energy reactors for the planet's mining stations. His mother, Elyra, was a botanist, spending her days in the glowing forests studying plants that absorbed cosmic radiation. And then there was Leela, Kael's 10-year-old sister, a girl with eyes bright as jewels and a smile that could banish any sorrow. Leela was the light of the family, always running through the fields, singing songs she made up about the stars. Kael, then 18, teased her endlessly, but he loved her more than anything. He dreamed of becoming a pilot, flying interstellar ships across galaxies, carrying tales of Calypsa to distant worlds. But Calypsa wasn't just forests and rivers. Deep beneath its surface, in caverns formed billions of years ago, archaeologists had discovered ancient ruins, structures belonging to no known civilization in conquered records. Called the Nameless Relics, they were inverted pyramids suspended in subterranean hollows, their walls inscribed with glowing symbols. At the core of each was an energy source emitting strange oscillations that defied modern analysis. Calypsa's locals told legends of these relics, calling them the curse of the stars. They believed disturbing them would awaken a destructive force. Kael, like most youths, dismissed these stories as myths to scare children. The Galactic Concord, however, saw otherwise. Despite its remoteness, Calypsa became a focal point when conquered scientists discovered that the energy cores in the Nameless Relics could provide near-infinite power. A covert research project, codenamed Project Ecliptus, was launched. Scientists from across the galaxy descended, bringing machinery to exploit the relics. Kael's father, Toryn, was hired to maintain the reactors powering the project. Though uneasy about tampering with the relics, Toryn needed the money to support his family and took the job. Kael, then training at a technical academy to become a pilot, noticed changes on Calypsa. Forests were cleared for research stations. Clear rivers turned murky with industrial waste. Across the planet, strange signals emerged, energy oscillations disrupting electronics and causing minor radiation storms. Locals whispered that the relics were awakening, but conquered scientists dismissed these fears as superstition. One evening, returning home from the academy, Kael found his father at the dinner table, his face etched with worry. Toryn revealed that the scientists had activated an L-core in Relic Beta 7, with terrifying results. The symbols on the relic's walls glowed intensely, and an indecipherable signal emanated from the core, as if communicating with something in deep space. Torrin overheard the scientists debating whether to continue, but ambition and greed prevailed. They pushed forward, ignoring the warnings. Kael didn't want to believe his father. He thought Torrin was exaggerating, that the curse stories were born of fear. But that night, as he took Lila to the fields to watch the 3 moons, he felt something amiss. The air was heavy, as if an unseen storm loomed. Lila, usually talkative, was quiet, gripping his hand. "Kael," she whispered, "I hear the stars singing, but their song is so sad." The next morning, disaster struck. Kael was at the academy, practicing on a ship simulator, when a blinding white light engulfed Calypsa's sky. No sound, no explosion, just light, so intense it erased everything. When it faded, Kael found the academy empty. His classmates, his instructors, all gone, leaving no trace. He ran home, heart pounding, but his village was a wasteland. The glowing stone, houses were rubble. His parents, Lila, all vanished. Kael was alone amid the ashes. He wandered Calypsa for days, searching for signs of life. Eventually, he found a log in an abandoned research station. A panicked scientist had recorded the final moments. "We went too far. The L-core activated. Something, a signal from deep space. It's not an energy source, it's a weapon. If anyone finds this, run, never touch the relics." The log ended in a screech, and Kael knew the Oblivion Ray had erased Calypsa. Kael fled the planet on a rescue ship, carrying only pain and rage. He vowed to uncover the truth about the Oblivion Ray and destroy it, no matter the cost. Over the next years, he became a bounty hunter, learning to fight, pilot, and survive in the galaxy's darkest corners. He hunted fugitives, saving enough to buy Void Blade, a ship built from stolen tech. But wherever he went, he never forgot Calypsa, never forgot Lila's smile. Every ancient symbol he encountered, every rumor of the Oblivion Ray, reminded him that his fight wasn't over. Kael's past didn't just shape him. It was the fire driving him toward Nebula 7 Station. He knew the nameless relics on Eryndor and Vela 9 might hold the key to understanding the Oblivion Ray. But he also feared that, like Calypsa, the truth might be too horrific to face. Still, Kael had nothing left to lose. He would go to the edge of the universe, confront any darkness, to ensure no world suffered Calypsa's fate.